What's up, everybody? Lyle Hip, you know, trucking and transportation, coming back at you live again. Not necessarily just because I wanted to go live. I'm supposed to be putting out an actual video here pretty soon. But had somebody ask me a question that I really thought was pressing. And sometimes it's just easier for me to hit this record button than it is to come up with an actual video. So if you come in here, let me know if you can hear me or not. I got the air on, the truck's running. All right, K-Mac. All right, I'm gonna get into this here in just a second. Just want to get some people back in here so I don't got to go back around on this again. All right, SRT LLC, we're gonna kind of get into that. I had somebody, all right, so now we got some more people in here. Some people are gonna check this on the replay, but I had somebody that watches some Prime videos. He's at, what's up, Misfit Flatbedder? He's at SFI, and he was talking about wanting to come over to Prime, and he was asking about, well, he was talking about, actually, he wasn't at SFI. He's at Snyder, but he's not doing a lease purchase over there or anything like that. And he was talking about coming over to Prime and doing a lease purchase. And was throwing around this word owner-operator, and I really wanted to get down into that, okay? Because I think there's a little misconception out here. Let me get into this. I think there's a misconception in what you actually are when you're at Prime. Because he was talking about coming over as and doing a lease purchase, and kind of throwing around that owner-operator situation. And one thing I'm going to say is, I don't know about the advanced fleet and power only and all that kind of stuff, but if you're at Prime and you're doing a lease purchase, whether you're paying on that lease purchase or like this truck, and I paid off another truck, but this truck will be paid off in about 5 more weeks. Me paying off this truck does not make me an owner-operator. That's like me buying a pair of cowboy boots and calling myself a cowboy. Okay, you have no, it's not like one of the questions he had was, you know, load boards and things like that. And even if you are on what they're calling a load board, or, you know, load choice or whatever it is, you are not choosing loads off of a typical load board. You are not going to escape no cameras and stuff like that. You do have the ability to turn down loads and all that kind of stuff, but listen, if they need a load ran, you're probably going to end up running that load. Now, you could fight it and do all that kind of stuff, and you might put yourself in a worse predicament, but you're not no owner-operator. So I just wanted to get that point across to him, because I think he might have had illusions of what a lease purchase is at Prime. Now, I am going to tell you, if you're interested in lease purchasing at Prime, I have not found, whether it's Hirschbach, Swift, you know, those are the two that come to mind for some reason. But I have not seen a better lease purchase out there, period. Now, Prime has its own issues that we're dealing with right now, but none of those come down to the business shit. That's all like touchy-feely stuff, the stuff that actually keeps you at a company for years and years and years. Let me get back through these comments before I get any deeper into this. All right, we already got this SRT Misfit. We already got to her. My makeup looks good. We already got to that. SRT, you're either leased on, owner operator, or independent, in my opinion. And I'm gonna say, yeah, that's clear. I'm gonna say that being a lease purchase or ace lease at Prime is, from an operation standpoint, roughly the same as just being a regular lease driver at Prime. Now there's a few differences, but none that would like make you more of an owner operator or less of an owner operator than one or the other. What's up, Matthew? I appreciate you. What's up, No Hippie? Did you catch the Paul versus Iron Mike fight last night? No, but I did see that Mike Tyson lost, and I was kind of wasn't sure how I wanted to feel about that situation. But, you know, Mike Tyson, first of all, to get paid $20 million, that was almost a favor or a blessing, you know, that Jake Paul instilled on Mike Tyson. So that's one thing. And at this point in Mike Tyson's life, I mean, he's almost 60 years old. He's almost done the George Foreman shit, where you take this unlikable guy and then turn him into somebody that's likable. And he's at that point right now. So as far as legacy and all that stuff goes, I don't think he was really worried about his legacy. And even if he was, I don't think it's going to tarnish it that much. I mean, a lot of people that aren't 50 years old or older, like I'm 56, you know, and you look at it and you're like, and I was even looking at it, I was like, looking at Mike Tyson train, man, there's still something about being 56 years old. I mean, there's a different kind of pain that goes along with everyday life that somebody in our age category deals with than somebody that's in their 20s. I mean, even just ligaments and just shit like, you know, there was when I was in my late 30s, early 40s, you know, I was pretty serious into lifting weights and shit like that. And one thing that I would notice is that a lot of times it wasn't the muscle that was the issue, it was the tendons and shit that were the issue. So a lot of those things catch up with you before the actual muscle and all that kind of stuff does. But Johnny B, if you're 54, maybe you understand what I'm talking about with just the aches and just shit that you just, it's just different. And I used to laugh about those little posts people used to put up, like, you know, when you're 50 and then you get up and then you're like, oh, my back, that shit's like kind of real. All right, yeah, K-Mac, I didn't watch any of those. I didn't watch any of it. But like, I wanted to get back to this and say, because this could be saving people. Do not come to Prime, do a lease purchase at Prime, and act like that's going to make you an owner-operator. Like I said, title this truck is going to be coming in 5 weeks. I've had a title to another truck. In no way, shape, or form did I ever think that was going to change anything about my existence at Prime, other than the truck was paid off. That's it. Still going to get cameras in the truck. Still going to not be able to run exactly the way I want to run. You know, you got the benefits on that side too. So don't get that misunderstood. So I could put my truck in the shop, which I just did a couple weeks ago in Denver, and they were saying, man, we're kind of low on this part that you need for this thing. And then he's like, oh, but you're with Prime. You know what? They'll probably be able to make something happen. So you do have that. You know, you have all the bonuses. But some of the negatives is you are not an owner. Like, you own the truck and you operate the truck. That's like me owning a pair of boots and putting on a pair of boots. Like I said, I'm not going to put on no pair of boots and run out there and act like I'm a fucking cowboy all of a sudden. So that's kind of the way that works. But this was a video that just kind of popped. You know, I wasn't planning on doing this video. I was planning on doing my other one, which I'm still working on, but I just felt like this had to get put out. As far as where I'm at right now, I am at the Flying J. And damn, I forget the name of the city. Hold on a second. I am at the Flying J. Can't believe I don't know where I'm at right now. Shit. This is ridiculous. I can't believe this. I'm at the Flying J in Temple, Georgia right now. So those of you guys that are familiar, there's a Flying J that's a little bit closer to Atlanta and Villa Rica or whatever they want to call that. But this exit is a little bit further west, and it has the barbecue place across the street. There's another Flying J across the road, so I'm about 30 miles away from my drop-off tomorrow. Now, those of you guys have been rocking with the channel, not even for that long. Last time I parked here, there was a rollover accident, semi covering up both sides of the highway, that caused me to be late for my appointment, even though I left 2.5 hours early for a 30-minute drive. And I was able to prove that that was not my fault by going on duty when I was in traffic and notating the accident. And they noticed that I wasn't moving and all that kind of stuff. They know when I left and everything. So I covered myself on that one. So hopefully we won't have that on a Sunday morning. All right, let me get to these comments right quick. All right, Johnny B applied at Prime. My recruiter was Heather Ross, I believe. She's milking mine, or I don't know, Mike Mann's recruiter. I deal with Heather Murrill, so I don't know who that recruiter is. Rich's River Smoker tried to give me the workaround this morning to get through Memphis yesterday, taking I-55 south to 269 to 22, and I missed the exit, man. I ended up having to take Lamar Avenue, but it probably actually, that time of day, was probably maybe even a better route anyway. But I would have liked to at least run that route just to see what it was about. Given that Prime has an age limit on trucks and the resale market being really poor at this moment for resale, seems like a lot has been removed from the attraction for lease purchase. What is your thoughts? All right, K-Mac, I agree with that a little bit, but what he's basically saying is Prime ages out trucks now. And I thought that was another, that's like, I didn't even want to get into it. I'm not going to get too deep into it. But yes. Now, that being said, I still think the lease purchase is, if you got the money to do it, the way to go. Even if they're not keeping trucks on that long. Like, this truck is going to be paid off in 5 weeks. So I'll have about under 300,000 miles on it. And I think I'll have probably another 4 years to run on it. That's enough of a benefit for me to do it. I don't know if I'd really run a truck like much past, much longer than that anyway. Much longer than 700,000 miles or whatever. So But one thing a lot of people don't think about when they do lease purchases is you do got to get out of that. You do got to get rid of that truck at some point. So that is one thing that a lot of people don't think about. I got lucky selling the last truck that I had just because somebody knew I was going to be selling my truck, and he kind of stepped up. So that made it a lot easier, but that is not an easy task right now. Maybe down the road, well, actually, that even, Success Leasing used to be buying trucks and stuff like that. So typically, if I was to keep this truck, pay it off, run it for 6 months or a year, Success Leasing would help sell that truck. At this point, they're probably having a hard enough time selling trucks on their own, so that's not happening. So that does kind of change things on that end. All right, Johnny B, CDL for 30 years, clean, driving local. Oh shit. Hold on. Okay, so Johnny B's saying that he applied at Prime. He's been driving, had a CDL for 30 years. He's been driving local, and Prime wanted to have him train. That is dumb shit right there. That just happens when you have a big company that just has straight up policies and you got to fit in this box. The military is similar in that way. If things don't fit exactly in this box, then this is what you have to do. To me, that is extremely stupid right there. So I'm agree with you on that. I have to go with Big H way and move my license to a hiring state since I'm from Cali. No hiring, still from California. Yeah. That still perplexes me when somebody's driven. Like, driving a truck, to me, it should be the opposite way around. If you were a over-the-road trucker and then you wanted to get a local job, that's where the more training should come in. Because if you're driving, even at Prime, they say, where do most accidents happen? In parking lots or truck stops. Well, if that's the case, people that are local drivers typically are used to working in much tighter spaces. They're usually backing more often than this guy's trying to blindside over here. I guess we'll see how that works out. But and there's no need to. That's the thing about it. So to me, that makes no sense, and that is what it is. When a company gets too big, sometimes the things that you have to go, their policies are their policies. So I don't know. I've been in Prime for 6 years, was going to buy, but opted not to. Seems to me, all right, hold on. Seems to me the good plan was to pay it off, run it for a while, then cash out by selling it off, making a good nest egg at that point. That was what my entire business model was based on when I was doing, when I had multiple trucks out there. I wasn't trying to collect trucks. And in the end, that was probably the reason why, one of the major reasons why I ended up shutting it down. It was like, all right, well, if I sell the truck, but now they're not selling them, so you're not getting rid of the trucks was going to be the problem, right? So if nobody's helping you the way they used to help you, and you're having to sell it on your own, that's a totally different scenario. Trying to sell now, if you're trying to sell trucks that would be $50,000 to $80,000 on your own, that's a different animal than selling trucks that are $25,000, even $30,000 and less. That's a different thing. And once I started looking at like that was one thing I definitely did not think about, is getting rid of your equipment. That is an entirely different headache that was more than I was wanting to deal with. All right. I think, all right, Johnny B, I think that the TNT thing was absolutely about the dumbest thing in the world. Uh, if you were thinking about lease purchasing at Prime, I don't think that. Like, I think that you can debate whether Prime Inc.'s regular lease is a fleece or there's better programs out there, however you want to do it. But the lease purchase, I debate anybody that wants to come in here and debate that. Whether it's Hirschbach, because you've been hearing a lot of smoke about them lately. Definitely Swift. I mean, their lease purchases, like, beyond reproach as far as I'm concerned. And I've looked into a lot of different companies on that, and that lease purchase is banging. And I'll probably do a video on that as soon as I have time to, like, actually screenshot a bunch of the things as far as how much I paid for the truck, what the payments were, what the interest was, the term, all that. You know, a lot of these companies, and you hear them out there talking about it, you know, they're leasing a truck, you know, and it gets paid off in I don't know how long, at least 4 years. And then when they're done leasing it, they got another 40 grand to pay. You know, so I don't get it. Not saying it's like there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying you can't compare the two. All right. Anyway, I drive Donner and Grapevine all the time. Make a lot of deliveries in San Francisco. Nope. Yeah, yeah. San Francisco, that's a no-go right there. If I saw that pop up, I'm not trying to go there, especially now when it's just business. I'm not going to San Francisco. As a matter of fact, I know a guy that worked at Cisco in San Francisco. And I think he had a shorter trailer, and he was talking about it. I think he was rocking a 48-foot. And as far as driving goes, Donner is not, in the winter, that, you know, okay, that's one thing. In regular weather, Donner is not that big of a deal. But the Grapevine, I think a lot of people sleep on the Grapevine. To me, that is one of the most dangerous downgrades out there, because there's so many trucks going at, well, there's so many cars and trucks and so many lanes, and they're all going at different speeds. And you always have that one driver that's behind the slow driver going either up or down. So then they get in the left-hand lane or get one lane over, but there's another truck or car coming behind that truck like super fast. I mean, it's just like too many vehicles, too many different speeds. So I'm not a big fan of the Grapevine. For me, the selling was one of the biggest draws financially. Anyway, I agree with the lease purchase is simple, straightforward, and very doable. Absolutely. I've done a lot of research, and those leases, and Prime is definitely the best. Now, when I'm talking about the leases, I'm pretty sure you understand. But let's be clear. I'm not talking about the normal lease at Prime. Sometimes if you're doing a normal lease at Prime, there might be another company out there that might be a better route, especially if you don't plan on completing that lease. Because that's where a lot of the benefit comes from on a regular lease, is that lease completion bonus. But some of these other companies where you're leasing a truck and maybe the payment's half, and you don't have any intention or care about getting a lease in completion, then some of those might make sense. If I'm paying $800 a week and I'd have no, you know, I have no intention of paying off the truck. Or not paying it off, but completing the lease. Alright, let's see. Q50 Sean. Crazy. I was considering leasing on the Prime once they said you need a camera in the truck. I absolutely agree. Now, I'm not going to say I'm not going to do it. Just because I'm at a position right now where I don't think it would be beneficial for me to leave, but it will change the way I do things at the company. You know, if any of you guys have watched Driver's Lineup video from yesterday, and he was talking about what the cameras and the kind of change of Prime has meant to him, that's how I feel. I think that the difference between what Prime was and what it is now, again, turns Prime from being a relationship business to a transactional business. So that means some of the shit that I might have done before, like I'll take this bullshit load, I'm a team player, I'm gonna do it for the team, whatever, or I already don't like driving. I don't. Those of you guys that just came here for the first time, I don't like driving. I don't wake up in the morning and be like, I'm gonna go knock out these 600 miles today. So to me, driving is just driving. I'm neutral on it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. So if you're gonna make it all business, and I don't have like any like culture, I guess you want to say, or anything like that to tie me down to, to motivate me to do shit that I really don't want to do, that changes like everything. Like, how many times have I gone like to places I don't want to go, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna do, and I will do it for a dispatcher point of view. I will still have that, so I will do certain things I won't want to do for my dispatcher, but I will work this holiday season, but that's not, because there was a time when I was like, I'll do that shit for Prime. I'm doing it because my title is going to come in January, and I don't want to leave and come back and leave and come back. So I'm just going to wait for it to come in, then handle it at that point. But there was a time that I would have just been like, you know what? Prime saying they need drivers out. I'm going to do it for Prime. That's kind of changed a little bit. All right, let's get back to this. All right, Johnny B says he's seen a few Prime trucks over the side on Grapevine. Hey, there was a yellow Kansas City Chief truck that rolled over there, and there was a bunch of candles and shit like that. So that was a high value load that rolled over last year, I think, on Grapevine, actually. True or false? All owner-operators and independent contractors, but not all independent contractors are owner-operators. Absolutely. And like I said, I will not consider, you will never hear the word owner-operator come out of my mouth while I'm at Prime. Those two things do not match. That's like saying I'm a fucking prostitute and I'm faithful. It's impossible to have two things happen at the same time. Mr. No Nice 24 got the camera and he puts on a show daily. Yeah, I'm not avoiding the camera. I'm just not running back to get the camera because I just came off of home time, so I'm trying to stack a little bit of money right quick, and I'm probably going to just tell them to put $1,000 a week into my emergency fund for the time being, just to kind of build that up. Backup, should I say. And I just spoke with the driver, and he said his fleet manager was really putting pressure on him, and actually a laid-back fleet manager actually got a little irritated about him not setting an appointment to come back into the terminal immediately to get the camera. Now, this is a regular lease driver, and we've got company drivers out there that don't have cameras yet. I mean, I'm not saying there's a hierarchy or anything like that. One is better than the other, but goddamn, I'm going to assume you might at least try to work your way into like a little... Okay, if we happen to catch a lease purchase driver near a terminal, and we happen to like bamboozle him in, okay, we'll do it. our lease driver, whatever. But company drivers probably should have been the first ones getting kind of routed in for that. Just saying. All right, let's see. All right, so these comments, for some reason the comments aren't popping up on here, so I got to look at my phone to. All right, let's see. Sorry about this. All right, KC Mac, I need to get my FTC hat. Fuck the camera, I hear that. But if you never leased, wouldn't a regular lease work before putting up the big down payment? I've had the camera for years, and you just get used to it. Well, technically at Prime, you're supposed to do a regular lease before you get into a lease purchase. Now, that's not always the case, but I would kind of suggest people do all three steps. But then I kind of look at it. I spent a long time in training myself. Longer than I should have. And then I looked at, had I just came out and done everything 6 months earlier or whatever, then I'd be 6 months ahead. So that's going to be my next actual video, is Prime, it'll be Prime, but Prime lease versus owner-operator, or not owner-operator, lease versus company driver. Pros and cons to each one of those. Late drinkers act like Prime is still a family. Man, I'm going to tell you that switch right there, I'm going to tell you that change was hard. That like really, the change, that was a hard transition to make, or it's still a hard transition to kind of go through. As far as the family shit, K-Max got the little frown thing. Johnny B sent me a video. All right, the same truck was featured in that Prime magazine you guys get. Yeah, the guy was I don't know if the guy was a trainer or not, but if you looked at that truck that rolled over on the Grapevine, he had the 1,000,000 mile sticker on the side of his truck. So I would assume that he was probably training somebody, and that student rolled that truck. Wombat says owner-operator in the house, so I'm assuming you're not still at Prime. I got my lease purchase truck, so it came with it. It's annoying, but I turn my music up and don't hear any of it. Yeah, I hear that. And while I'm saying this in this video about me not considering myself, or ever considering myself, an owner-operator at Prime, that's not taking anything away from what it is. It just is what it is. Like, you ain't no owner-operator. It's the easiest way to say it. Like, you own the equipment. That's it. You operate the equipment. That's it. And like I said earlier, that's like me putting on a pair of shit kickers and walking around a ranch acting like I'm a rancher all of a sudden. I might look like one. I might even trick some people into thinking I'm one, but that doesn't mean I'm out there doing the shit. So, let's see. I got my lease purchase trucks. All right, so we already went through that. Wife and I came to Prime in June. Went company for another company, and now picking up my own truck during Thanksgiving, headed to Landstar. Hey, congratulations on going to Landstar. One of the things that I'm saying is that if you're at Prime, and I can't talk about the A fleet, power only, none of that, but if you're on the regular Prime fleet, like you're a you own your truck, or you're a lease purchase with a title, without a title, and your truck number starts with a 2, that's not being an owner operator. But I think my point on that was, I understand what that is, and I understand that I'm willing to give up some of the benefits that some of the benefits that we get being, I will just say, fake owner operators is worth some of the hassle we got to go through. Now, some of the shit is unbearable to some degree, so I'm gonna have to thug it out through some of it, but the benefits and stuff like that, I'm still just willing to, deal with what I got to deal with, because the benefits are pretty substantial, in my opinion. Okay, Wombat's got a good question. Go ahead and ask that question. Nothing against Prime, but I just can't fathom a camera being in my truck. I absolutely agree, and it literally, it still might be, depending on what transpires when I get in the truck. That is such a violation that I'm gonna probably struggle with that shit right there. Alright, you never know what can happen out here. I just got hit by somebody last night because they were playing with their phone while driving in the construction zone. Hey, what happens, happens. Now, I don't know if that was in regards to the camera or not, but you do see pictures or videos of people getting in accidents that have inward facing cameras. So that's not gonna change that too much. And tell me if I'm wrong, and put I'm wrong in the comments, or I'm right, whether you think I am. But if you have a company, and I'm not talking about Prime, let's just make this hypothetical. But let's say that the average age of your driver, in terms of years of experience, is 6 years of experience. And then you make a bunch of changes or do whatever, and those drivers with 6 years of experience ends up dropping to 2 years of experience. But with more safety technology, which of those drivers do you think are going to be safer over the long run? Especially if you're turning over those younger drivers year after year after year once you get them in. Think about that and put that in the comment down below. I'd be interested in seeing that. Alright, what's going to happen? Okay. Wombat's still here. Gonna look into leaving around the holidays, maybe. Like I said, I know somebody right now that's just trying to complete, or trying to get through Christmas, I believe, maybe right before Christmas, and then they are leaving as well. Ain't people allowed to identify how they want? Use whatever pronouns you want. Alright, good joke there. What's up, these nuts? Call us anytime they want. It's semantic. Money making is what we do. Yeah, like I said, I don't care whether you call me owner operator, lease operator, fleece operator, whatever you call me. But in this conversation I was having with this driver, first of all, he kept using the word owner operator, so I asked him what he thought that was, and he gave me what he thought being, hold on, let me turn this truck on, what he thought it was, and I was like, you aren't picking your own loads. There's a ton of different things you're not doing. Now, there's a lot of pluses that come with that, but you're not an owner operator. And if you're just about making money, then this is like, you can do that. So, personally, I don't care what you call me. So we're in agreement on that one. Don't worry, they will have a lawsuit to the point where they have to turn off the cameras. That will be interesting. If Walmart had to turn it off, It won't be surprising that other companies will also. I don't know why Walmart did it, but from the outside looking in, and I don't, it almost appeared to me that Walmart was turning into not a training company, but it was turning into a company that wasn't able to attract drivers. And it was almost like they got, because they used to have a cell phone policy. Like you couldn't even drive with the headset on or anything. And I think some of their policies kept them from getting drivers they wanted. So then they changed those policies. That's what it looked like. I don't know that for sure. I can see something like that. I don't think Prime would change because Prime is just cocky right now. But you never know. All right. Okay, you're right. Longevity will prevail and safety. Agree with that. The only thing an owner-operator runs in Prime is their mouth. Absolutely. They can't keep drivers. I don't know if they're talking about Prime or Walmart, but I don't know how many people are leaving at Prime. I never really pushed my referral code, but there was always a certain number of people that would still use my referral code or whatever. There was probably a time when there might have been like, I don't know, let's say 10 or 12, right? They were on my list, and every week you get a quarter cent per mile. I'm down to 3. So that right there, plus I talk to people that are waiting for their leases to be done. So it is making an effect. More than just natural attrition. All right, all right. Okay, Mac, what defines an owner-operator? Operating under your own authority? I don't know. I'm not here to make that determination. But one thing I'm going to say for me is that if I was to call myself an owner-operator, I would be able to make certain decisions like not having a camera in my truck or having a load board or, and there's negative shit along that too. But those, maybe if I was a true owner-operator, I would not just be able to get with Road Assist and have them handle, a breakdown that I'm having. So, I mean, it's both good and bad, but on both sides of that. But as long as Prime or any company can dictate where I go more than myself, I don't feel like that's an owner-operator. I feel like I'm an owner of a truck operating it, but in terms of where that truck goes, that more has to do with Prime than myself. All right. I'm just gonna call you nice 24. Prime is losing drivers faster than they can recoup. It's been very fast. All right. Oh no, Walmart is still doing training. They hire store employees to get their CDL. It's still happening. You know what? To me, I think that's genius, because if you have people, what I think is Walmart right now is building a culture that Prime lost. Hiring people from in-house that worked in your docks or, regular employees. Those are people that are going to be baked into the culture of your company. That makes sense to me. Even if they're brand new. I guarantee you, if Walmart hires people from their docks or from their stores or whatever, those people are going to be around longer than any of these mega carriers. I guarantee it. I'd put money on that one. And it's baking things into the culture that people don't leave companies. But all right, here's the thing. People will stay with a company where they know they can make more money going elsewhere for the culture of the company. So the more people you bring from the inside and keep, the stronger your company is going to be over the long run. That is genius by Walmart to do that. Because there is going to be that certain percentage of people that might leave to do their own thing. But you take somebody who's been working in-house at Walmart for 2 years and train them in a truck and do all this kind of stuff. Now you got a loyal employee. Genius right there. Mr. Lovey Love, what's up? It's been a long time. I absolutely hear you on that. Wombats really hope Prime sees what's going back on their word has done for future drivers. I'm trying not to get too deep in these conversations because I don't want to have any phone call. I've never had a phone call from Prime, and I don't want one right now either, so I kind of have to self-censor some of this stuff. They promised we'd never have cameras. That's really what pisses me off. You said it. If you quit, there are 10 people to take your place. Hey, D's nuts. That's the problem. Is when companies think that there's 10 people to take your place. If they're replacing 10 6-year drivers with 10 no experienced drivers, that's a problem. So yeah, you could win the war or win the battle and lose the war on that one. So yeah, there's always going to be people to take your place. But is that an upgrade? And then the people that have been here for 6 years, if you've been here for 6 years, you most likely plan on being here for longer. The newer drivers that come in to get their CDL, who knows what their thoughts are going to be. So in actuality, you're not trading one for one. So you might have 10 6-year drivers that leave, 10 brand new drivers that come in. The turnover rate on those, just in trucking alone, let alone the business, all that, 10 new drivers, you're going to probably, it's like the Navy SEALs or whatever. You're going to probably keep about 2 of those drivers over in. You're probably going to keep 3 of those drivers in trucking in general, whether it's your company or another company. 3 of those drivers maybe in 2 years. So to really replace 10 drivers with brand new drivers, you probably need 30 brand new drivers to keep that amount at your company. So that's a lot of work. If you dig that deep into it. Maybe I'm stupid, I don't know. The decision alone is seriously driving me to apply elsewhere. If they lied about that, they will lie about anything. You know, the one thing that's funny about this, I'm going to get to Big H trucking here a little bit. The one thing that's funny about that is I knew a driver when they first started talking about inward-facing cameras that had no intentions of leaving Prime, but that alone, just even looking around, he's like, oh, let me just look around. Just looking around, and this is back before they even started really, this is like back a year ago, whatever. He fucked around and found out that he found a better job than he had at Prime. I don't know if that's still the case. I haven't kept up with him, but just the mere thought of looking around brought that decision to be made. Big H Trucking. Man, I was going to call you this morning to get an update on your situation. That shit was crazy right there. As a matter of fact, so I wasn't sure if you're still driving nights or not. Wombats, I hit a deer the other night. Do I contact First Guard? Yeah, hey, Wombats, contact First Guard. Tell them you have a deer guard. That should eliminate your $1,000 deductible on that. I need a deer guard on my truck right now. But I'm debating it. That 4 inches, man, where I'm delivering tomorrow, that 4 inches might come in handy. I almost hit a deer last night too. And I know they're just like, just hit it. And I was like, yeah, nah. I got to at least, scoot over just a little bit. Because everybody telling you to hit a deer at Prime ain't going to not be getting paid while you hit that deer at Prime. So I've been thinking about that deer guard. So I might do that. But yeah, contact First Guard. Tell them you have a deer guard. And make sure you don't pay that claim or that $1,000 deductible. I'm not saying being an owner operator is better at this point. We realize a lot of benefits from being with Prime without a doubt. Listen, you're hearing a lot of people at Prime being pretty critical about Prime right now. And a lot of it's about the culture, things like that. You will never hear me say anything about the business aspect of Prime. The business at Prime, I think I can't complain about it. That's the other shit, then I do have something to kind of a feeling about it or whatever. But pure business, and it better be pure business because, hey, if Prime is relying on their business to be that great and not have any like emotional hold to the company, they better be all they can be. That's when you start getting turnover. That's when you start having people leaving companies that would have maybe stayed at the company because somebody else might be paying more, or somebody has a cooler truck, or all these dumbass reasons why people leave when the culture alone could have kept them at the company. And culture's a lot cheaper than any of this other shit. Do you know if BLC is a good company? They haul prime freight. I'm not sure about BLC. We do have a driver that left Prime and went to BLC, Miss Mother Trucker. Go check out her channel. She's over there right now, and I don't know if she's happy, unhappy, or anything like that, but she does have a channel, Miss Mother Trucker. So type that in, Prime, and that'll bring up that channel. Lovey love, nothing beats experience. I absolutely agree. My fleet manager was so upset I was leaving because he knew I was a workhorse. I don't know if the driver left, but I talked to a driver. This is probably a good year ago when they first started talking about cameras. Been at Prime. I don't even want to say the number of years because as soon as I say the number of years, they're going to probably know. Well, we only got like 5 people that have been here that long. But I talked to him in Denver on a load we were dropping, and I brought that up, and he was talking about Robert Lowe's mom, and he was like, if I thought Prime was good when I was there, he was making it sound like way better for back then. And we were running for Rob, and we weren't getting paid, and we did it out of loyalty, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, he was like that guy, and it's here's where I say the benefits of longevity. If Prime was to put cameras in everybody's truck and do all that, there's just some people you just like. I'd say that guy doesn't deserve a camera. If you've been at Prime and gone through all that shit, maybe we just shut up and just let you do your thing. There's got to be some benefit of being around for all them years. But he was like telling me, Rob Lowe's mom was all involved, and he was like, I wish I could have recorded the conversation. Man, anyway. All right, they should do this with the cameras. If we have a high score, our cameras turn off inside. We get critical events, those cameras come on. Okay, I could maybe agree with that. Again, like I said, it's not even the cameras. This is the biggest issue. But I mean, the cameras are an issue to me. All right, D's Nuts worked at Prime for 12 years. I quit with a perfect record. Never got a ticket or failed an inspection, and Prime didn't give 2 fucks. I've heard that. Although I've also heard they're calling people back. Like with these OTIF loads, I never ever once delivered a Walmart load early or late, but 100% on time, and they hound me, don't deliver this early. Whenever I get that thing that says this is an OTIF load, I say, if you send me this shit one more time, I'm going to deliver this shit a day early. I dare you. I double dare you. Just stopped in on a short lease. Yeah. I had a dock where the fence turns in and in a lightweight. It was tough. Man, I'm telling you, those 4 inches, I could think of at least a couple docks where not having that deer guard would have came in really handy. So, and once I'm probably gonna hold off on the deer guard, but in a way, you almost kind of look at it like, you know what, if I hit a deer, that's like some days off that I don't really have to like account for. Like I don't got to come up with an excuse to take all that time. Not that I need to anyway, but uh, DT trucking, whatever that is, get one that covers up the whole thing. Man, that big. If anything, I know what you're talking about, and that's probably a better deer guard in general. But god damn, some of them deer guards are just too big. Wombats talking about some deers in the lane last night. Man, there was 2 deers in the lane last night when I was coming down right before Birmingham. And I saw it and I jaked, but there was one in the left lane. And as a matter of fact, there was a dog just about before that. And that really made me feel bad. But so I hit my jakes. I'm coming down this hill. There was one that was still off to the right hand side, so I'm just gonna use like common deer psychology. They were going to the left, so what I did was scoot over into the left lane, and the deer that was in the left lane ended up getting into like the median or whatever where the woods were, and then the one that was coming off the side on the right never did come into the lane. But I'm not gonna flip a truck. I'm not gonna do nothing crazy. I mean, I've trained myself where almost to the point where if there's a baby in a stroller, I'm just going through it. So I mean, I've kind of thought through that, but I'm not trying to get no. In the meetings they talk about the deductible and we'll get it fixed. You pay me while my truck's in the shop, while you're out here doing your shit, getting paid. And then we can kind of have a conversation about it. But like I said, I'm not swerving. I'm not doing that. If I hit it, I hit it. But I am going to kind of try to not hit it head on. Okay. Where is the number for first guard? If you go into your insurance on the application, it should bring up your insurance card, and it should be on that phone number. Or if you look under my contacts, I think it might be under there. If I wasn't, my app is on this phone over here. If I wasn't on here, I'd send it to you, but Rich's River Smokers is not happy about the cameras, but not going anywhere. I'm the best. It's the best money he's ever made. Like I said, I agree with that. And Lamont Taylor, I left when the writing was on the wall. Prime is a shell of what it was when I was in training. With that being said, Prime was a great place to train. Man, I'm going to tell you, Prime was... they talked about the Kool-Aid and all that kind of stuff. And there's a period of time when I just couldn't defend it. You know what I mean? It was what it was. There was a period of time when, like I said, you hear those stories about Prime way back in the days when drivers like drove for free without getting paid for a certain amount of time just to make sure Prime made it out of that. I know when I came through, there was a class action lawsuit going on with Prime, and I did not even join that shit. A lot of it's just the drivers, and I think a lot of it is there's so much turnover that you're just not getting those same people. But like, just stupid shit like waving, or stupid shit like, I think I'm luckier more than some, because some people just actually kind of walk up to me and just happen to know me. But you would barely ever see anybody just at the terminal just by themselves, being a loner. Somebody walk up to them, say what's, So, yeah, it it's definitely changed. T News, I just saw your video talking about that Landstar thing. It's sad I got my million-mile safe award in the mail, and as soon as I get my Landstar plates, I'm putting in my 2-week notice. Yeah, I watched that video. uh, yeah. And been at Prime for a long time. That's the problem. And I honestly don't even think they realize, like, I don't think a lot of companies realize what the repercussion is when they're going through things. It's like a 1-for-1 scenario. Like, I get rid of or fire, or one driver leaves, and then I hire one more driver to replace them. It's not that simple. You can't look at it like that. Like, if I was a manager in the mortgage business and somebody left, and they'd been doing mortgages for 5 years or whatever it was. First of all, whether it's my company or a different company, to keep one loan officer or mortgage banker in the business more than 2 years, you're going to need to hire 8 people to keep 2 in the business over 2 years. And of those 2 that stay in the business more than 2 years, are they still going to be at your company? So you're having to hire at an exponentially higher rate than what you're losing just to keep things level. So, especially trucking, I mean, I think there's more people washing out of the mortgage industry than trucking. But even trucking, how many people come through training? Let's say you hire 10 people in training. How many of those 10 people are staying in training more than a year? I don't know that number, but let's say that's 5. I think that's 5 is high, but let's say that's 5. Of those 5 people, how many are going to stay at your company after they get their 1-year experience to go local or go to get a better job or whatever? So let's say that drops down to 3. So now you've hired 10 people to cover 10 drivers that left, but you're only keeping 3 of those 10. All right. Maybe I got a little deep on that. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. What's up, Trent? All right. Misfit Flatbedder Safety Manager said on safety meeting, if you leave, we don't want you back. Now they're calling people back. Yeah, I kind of saw that. Justin, 2 drivers at my company hit deer yesterday. One of them being me. Bent the brand new bumper off my Pete. Man, I've been like really looking for deer. I probably will get the deer guard, but when I go back in there, but not having that deer guard, like I said, some of them docks you go to that are super tight, those 4 inches, like that's just enough room sometimes to make things a lot easier. All right, I listened to Tim's Travels video he just put out. He said he was, all right, talking about deer hit. It was 30 minutes after he said, I've never ever hit a deer. Listen, sometimes you just gotta, like Tim Travels, you know, sometimes it's a bit, you know, I don't know. I don't know what rut is, but what I can tell you is I would feel real stupid about now if I was a hunter out there sneaking around trying to shoot some defenseless deer drinking water when he could just be out there running up and down the highways, running deer over for, you know, no effort at all. Cool Breeze, that's the old school name right there. Did I make it to Georgia? Yep, I did make it to Georgia. I'm in Temple, Georgia right now at the Flying J. I don't think I'm going to get this barbecue across the street, but I'm at that exit the barbecue, the Mexican restaurant that's over there. So anyway, to circle back around on this, there's, some people have came in after this. I had a driver that called me. He's at Snyder. I don't think he was leasing at Snyder. I think he was wanting to come to Prime and do a lease purchase. Saw Prime drivers talking about lease purchasing, and he kept throwing around this word owner-operator. And what he thought it was kind of going to be. And I just wanted to really strongly advise him that just because you own a truck at Prime, whether you own it and you have the title, or you have a title somewhere else, or Prime sold the title, you are not an owner-operator just because you got a title to a truck or you have it paid for, anything like that. There's basically not that much difference between you and any other regular lease driver at Prime, other than the fact that you have a lower payment or no payment at all. So the expectations should be, I'm gonna come to Prime, I'll do a lease purchase, and I'll either pay off a truck and keep it at Prime, or pay off a truck and take it somewhere else. The benefit is to pay off the truck. It's not that you're gonna be operating under some mysterious group of rules that you haven't heard anybody talk about. It's basically, you're basically a lease driver with a paid off truck. Man, all right, Wombats Tim Travels jinxed you. All right, yeah. Rich's River Smoker, these motherfuckers here bitching about Prime, forgetting if it wasn't for Prime, they'd still be selling groceries. Now, I'm still going to complain a little bit about Prime, in that I'm not going to complain. It's just taking a different shift. So, like I've mentioned, technically, I don't think there's many places. Now I'm going to speak from the lease purchase standpoint, and even from, I think other lease companies might be a little bit more competitive on some degree. What a lot of people don't realize is if you stick out that lease purchase, or not lease purchase, regular lease, you're going to get that lease completion bonus. So if you take that lease completion bonus and divide that by the number of months, that's going to give you, let's do the math on that right quick. So let's say you do a 3-year lease. Okay, so 3-year lease. And you got, let's just say $15,000 lease completion bonus. All right. All right, so if you're going to take that, if you divide that up, you're going to be paying $416 less a month. So my thing would be, if you don't complete a lease and you can go somewhere else and lease a truck for however long you lease it, I guess it doesn't matter, but let's say the payment, instead of $1,100 or whatever it is at Prime, and go lease it somewhere else for $800 or $700, that might be a better program if you're not going to stick around to the end of the lease. Because really what makes it worth it is completing the lease. All right, so, but on a lease purchase, I'm going to just tell you, if that's what you're looking at doing, because I know a lot of people out there, whether it's on YouTube, because I've seen it on YouTube, you have a lot of geniuses out there on YouTube telling you what's right and wrong that have been in the trucking industry for I don't know how long, that haven't actually owned a truck, giving you advice on how to own a truck. All right. All right, K-Mac, I'll check you out later. How long can you keep your paid off truck at Prime? I think it was 7 years, okay? Which is more than enough for me. I really didn't want to run for too much longer. I think I would have been fine with even just 3 years. So if I pay this truck off, I'll have, let's just say 300,000. By the time 3 more years comes, that would be, let's just say 600,000. But I'm not going to be running as hard as I am now. So let's say I'm doing 250,000, 270,000 miles a year. Then I'd just be like, I'd be at still under 600,000 in 7 years. That's still enough for me to sell the truck for a little bit of money. I don't know. I think it's 7 years though, without beating around the bush. 412 is in Florida off of 10, and I'm gonna tell you, I know that traffic is bad down there because Florida people can't drive worth a shit. Man, I don't know why my phone does not keep up with these messages. I gotta look at them on this phone now. But I did see somebody that was talking. Like I said, I'm not drinking this Kool-Aid about Prime. It's not like about, I'm just doing it for the love of Prime and all that kind of stuff. But when I hear people saying dumb shit, I'm going to tell you, there's 2 guys out there at Hirschbach that were trying to even compare that Hirschbach lease to Prime. And I'd be more than willing to go and have a debate about that shit anytime, any day of the week on that shit. So, you know what? Don't have anything wrong with Prime or Hirschbach or anything like that. But if you're thinking about going there and you're thinking about doing an actual lease purchase, give me a call, some shit like that, because we could turn that around. Like, that's not even comparable from what I've heard. Now, if you want to do a regular lease over there, I don't know. That is what it is, but, there is no comparison. And I'm getting codes on my reefer being set at the wrong temperature, and I can absolutely assure that that's not the case. All right. I hear you, 412. But anyway, let me get off of here real quick. I just wanted to come in real fast and put that video out because, like I said, I'm going to be doing the video priming lease versus company. Then I'm going to do priming lease purchase versus lease. But I thought this was like something that I wanted to talk about immediately because it looked like old boy is about to make a move pretty soon. So just wanted to make sure that his expectations weren't above what they should be. All right, let me see this real quick. What is the Prime experience really like, bro? It's a lot different than it was, man. I'm going to tell you. Before, and I'm going to sound fucking goofy saying this, but anybody that's been at Prime, like, for at least, let's say, 4 years plus, can, like, it's something you can't put your finger on. Like, when you're saying, what is Prime, what was the question? What is the Prime experience really like? it was like truly family, that kind of shit. Like you didn't like even let's say at the terminal level, you'd be walking around the terminal and Robert Lowe be out there playing basketball. People be dunking on him and shit. And
attention, an important message has arrived.
You know, people be talking. You know, it just was not this adversarial relationship. Like you never felt like anybody was like. Every now and then you might get fucked, but you didn't feel like anybody was fucking you. You know what I mean? It's something you cannot put your finger on. Like there's a video that another YouTube channel put out. His name is Driver Lineup, and he was talking about the cameras at Prime, and in reality, he speaks about the camera, but what more I got out of it was the culture of Prime. And he can express that more than I can. But it felt like you were working for more than just money, more than just like even yourself. Like listen, I feel dumb for doing it now. There were so many fucking Christmases where I didn't need to be out fucking working, but I did it because it was like, man, you know what? Let me just do it for Prime, you know, whatever. And it's just like you just don't have people doing that shit anymore to the same degree. Rich's River Smoker says he doesn't care about the family thing anymore. I'm just about grabbing the money, and that's it. So I agree with that. So what it does is it allows me, and maybe even him or other people, like there's certain stress that I took on that I don't have to take on anymore, or feel like I have to take on anymore, that you just used to do. It's sort of like my mom passed away when I was 12, but it's sort of be like if your mom was like live 60 miles away and she calls you to take her to the grocery store. You might not want to fucking do it, but you're going to do it because that's your mom. That's the way it kind of was. Now those questions are easily answered. If I get woke up at 12 o'clock in the morning, I look at that message about a repower, maybe I'm not, you know, doing that shit that I might have done before. So it changes it from, it just, like I've said before, instead of being, it changes it to a transactional business. Okay, DRB Barry, that sounds awesome. Would love to be a part of that. Well, you have to find somewhere else. I don't think that's the case right now. So if you find that place, let me know. But hey, I'm about to get off of here. Still would like to maybe record this video today about the company driver versus lease. And I'd still got to do my expense report for October, so I'm way behind on that. And yeah, that's it. But hey, as always, I do appreciate you guys stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. As always, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.